There's never been a busier sports day that I can think of, and this is at the top of the news. The Washington Wizards agreeing to send that man, Russell Westbrook, to the Lakers. They gave up a lot, or the Lakers gave up a lot, I should say, to get him. The 22nd pick in last night's draft, plus Kyle Kuzma, plus Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, plus Montrezl Harrell. All of this according to our Adrian Wojnarowski, who's in with us all morning long. According to Caesars, the Lakers' odds to win the title didn't change. They're still 4-1 behind the other big super team, and that's Brooklyn. Next closest odds in the West, you see there Golden State at 10-1. LeBron, of course, has led a team to the finals in 9 of the past 11 seasons and won 4 championships. Stephen A. Smith is on his way in studio to break this down along with this fella, Kendrick Perkins, who is here. And once again, there really is only one question. The Lakers are never a team that you think, well, can they get better? Can they make a deep playoff run? It is as simple as this. Can LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook coexist well enough to win a championship?
Absolutely. Look, Greeny, you can't put 3 Hall of Famers on the team and say, oh, is it questions, can they shoot or can they do this? They're going to get it done. And I go back to the Miami Heat days when LeBron James was playing alongside Dwayne Wade. Everybody was talking about, oh, do they complement each other well? Well, guess what? They found a way to get it done by going to the low post. Both of these guys, Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, are great slashing off the ball. And then you add Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, healthy, is still the best big in the game today. Russell Westbrook has not had a chance in his entire career, although he's played with me, but playing with a big like Anthony Davis. And when you make this trade and Russell Westbrook now goes to the Lakers, they have pressure on them, Greeny. They have pressure like a man and woman going on a blind date. Okay?
It's a good analogy, one of your beloved analogies. And with that, we are delighted to bring in the one, the only Stephen A. Smith. Who was
What's going on, y'all?
Back from his vacation. It's such a pleasure to see you, as always.
Good to see you, my brother.
Let's dive right into it, because there's really only one question, as I said, with the Lakers. It's not about can they make a deep playoff run in L.A.? Can they win a championship or not? These 3 guys, yes or no?
Well, they can win a championship. I'm not going to pick them as my favorite. It's still going to be the Brooklyn Nets. A healthy Brooklyn Nets team, I think, is incredibly formidable, and that would they would definitely receive my edge. But I also think it's going to be interesting because it's something I'm going to elaborate more extensively on First Take about. I don't believe this season that Russell Westbrook will have ever faced more pressure than he's going to face this year. And I'm going to elaborate on that far more extensively, but considering where he's been, what he's been through, and what life has been like without the services of Kevin Durant as his teammate. Now to be in this position right here with LeBron James and Anthony Davis as your teammates, Russell Westbrook is going to be under immense pressure. Now, he don't give a damn. Kendrick Perkins to speak to that. He could care less. You understand what I'm saying? Don't think it's going to phase him. You understand? It's not going to phase him. He's going to go out there. He's going to go out there and do what he does. He's going to play the way he wants to play. But from the outside world, I'm saying the pressure is going to descend upon him.
And you played with him in Oklahoma City. The one thing he doesn't have on his resume is a championship. How will that pressure affect the 32-year-old Russell Westbrook?
Well, you know, the thing about Russ is that he don't give a damn, right? And that's a good thing in a way because, like I said, he's back in his hometown, so you know he's going to play with extra pride. And again, Greeny and Stephen A., he hasn't played with a big like Anthony Davis. Like a pick and roll with Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis is dangerous for the NBA, especially if Anthony Davis decides to embrace playing the center position, being that role guy, that lob threat at the basket. Because I strongly believe that LeBron James, he's willing to take a back seat and be that third option type guy.
I think we say that a lot about LeBron James, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And the reason why I don't believe that is because it's not about scoring. LeBron James doesn't care if somebody scores more than him. That's not what I'm trying to imply. But he's one of those guys who truly, truly believes, validly I might add, that he's the best decision maker on the floor. You don't find a situation where LeBron James is on the court and he thinks somebody makes better decisions and is a better exposer of mismatches than him. And because he feels that way, he'll say all the right things. And I'm not saying he's lying. He genuinely means it until he gets on the court and purviews the landscape and looks at what he's playing with and who he's playing against, I need to be the one to make this call. That's what I get from LeBron James.
Well, let me challenge you on this one, Stephen A. Go back and look at when him and Rondo played together when they won it. We saw a lot of times LeBron would give the ball to Rondo and play off the ball a lot. And he trusted Rondo because Rondo is one of the best floor generals to ever play the game.
Right.
So when you look at Russell Westbrook, I think we don't give him enough credit for his decision making. We're talking about a guy who led the league in assists last year, and he had a lot of G League players around him. And now you add a LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and they're going to find shooters along with a guy like Tatum Horton-Tucker. He's going to flourish well. He's going to lead the league in assists again.
When you're an astute basketball mind, Greeny, like my man Kendrick Perkins, you can ultimately become a little bit slick, and you got to know what the hell you're talking about to pick it up, to catch him. Because Kendrick Perkins knows what I'm about to say. Yes, LeBron deferred to Rondo, because with Rondo, you know you're going to get the ball back. You see the difference? Because Rondo ain't trying to shoot. You understand? Yeah. Rondo is literally looking to pass. So somebody like that is very easy for LeBron to defer to in terms of his decision making, because Rondo is brilliant. He's a basketball savant and what have you. But also he's a basketball savant who's not looking to shoot. He's absolutely looking to defer first, second, and third option before he even thinks about shooting in most situations. That's not Russell Westbrook. And Russell Westbrook, here's the thing that I think needs to be said in a positive way about Russell Westbrook. He's not selfish. The fact that people talk about him like he's selfish. No, that's not him. He's dogged. He has a strong belief on himself. He ain't scared of a soul. You understand what I'm saying? This brother's a rough rider. Make no mistake about it. But he's also somebody that has a profound belief in himself. And if he's not making the shot, he wants to be a facilitator of those shots. And what I'm saying is that's the difference between him and Rondo. Russell Westbrook will jack up shots. He doesn't need to be jacking up. Rondo won't do that.
So we have someone else who wants to jive in here, and I will in a second. But first, let me ask one more question. Yeah. Championship on the line, one possession, Game 7 against the Nets, one last possession. Who's taking the game-winning shot for the Lakers? LeBron, Westbrook, or Davis?
It's going to be, well, first of all, if they smart, it should be Davis. Okay? Because Davis is a better perimeter shooter than all of them. But I will say, I won't discredit LeBron. Obviously, LeBron has to come first. Then Davis is a 1A. Russell Westbrook should be after those two, but that doesn't mean that's what he'll do.
Right.
I'm going with Anthony Davis, and the reason why, because we saw it during their championship run. We saw Anthony Davis come off a wheel action all the way off a curl like he was Kyle Korver and shot a three-pointer and yelled Kobe. So I know, right? We watched LeBron James defer to Kyrie Irving and say, T. Lou, scratch that, draw the play up for him. So, look, Russell Westbrook knows too. Anthony Davis is the go-to guy.
Okay, there's one more person who is dying to get in on this conversation.
Oh, there you go.
He is, the big swagoo.
What do you want, man? This is my first day back in about a week. I got to see Big Perk and what this man's
I'm glad you said this your first day back. Where the hell you been, man? You got a nice tan, too. You been tanning? You been on the beach with your toes out?
I am entitled to get a few days off. That is a rarity. That is number one. And number two, to answer the question directly, I took my daughters to Disney World. I was at Disney World for the last
very nice.
So.
All right, Marcus, the same question to you.
Can't you see the tan?
No one loves basketball more than Marcus does. These three guys, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook. Simple question. Do they win the championship next year, Marcus?
Yeah, they win the championship, and it's because they morph. Stephen A. and Big Perk know this game inside and out. They aficionados, but I believe, this is my belief, I believe the mentality will morph for them to win a championship. We're not talking about basketball skill. We all know all three of these guys are dynamic players, probably going to end the top 50 players in the league to ever play. But when you think about where they are in their careers, when what we've seen over time in the NBA, mentally, they will get this figured out. It took a while. Remember this, fellas. It took a while for the championship season in the bubble for LeBron and that team and AD to figure out who they were, find that identity. I believe the same will hold true this year. And look, for basketball, we need the Lakers against the Brooklyn Nets in the championship. It was great to see Giannis get a championship. It was great to see that process work through the draft. I want to see this damn game in the NBA Finals because I'm going, and Stephen A. gonna buy my ticket.
Well, actually, you know what? I wouldn't mind buying you a ticket, even though last time you could buy your own ticket. But I will say this to you. We definitely want to see that matchup. And the one thing that I think that we have to give credit where credit is due. Remember, the reason why the Brooklyn Nets in a lot of people's eyes didn't win the championship this year is because of injury. Nobody believes that Milwaukee would have beat them if they stayed healthy. And so here's the deal. The level of selflessness that James Harden and Kyrie Irving both put forth last year in terms of when they were on the court, their willingness to defer to one another, to pass the basketball. I saw ball movement on that offense with Kyrie and with James Harden that they're not getting enough credit for. So if they were to get to the finals next year, please understand that these brothers are going to be ready. And I'm telling you right now, I think Brooklyn's the kind of team, they don't just want to win the chip. They want LeBron up in there to beat for the championship. And that's what's going to make that matchup
well,
so
not
special.
only that, I got 30 seconds here. How bad do you think that Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook want to play against each other in the final?
Oh, they want to compete for sure. And KD wanted bad. I can't say that about James Harden and Kyrie Irving for the simple fact, listen to this, Stephen A. James Harden entered, he wanted to be part of Team USA. And then he took his name out. Next thing you know, he's back on the worldwide tour with Lil Baby. That's not a mental focus of wanting to win a championship.
It's off-season.
No, same thing happened last offseason. He came in out of shape and he pulled his hamstring.
Oh, I don't think he's going to be out of shape. That's number one. And number two, you keep forgetting, who want to go up against LeBron more than Kyrie? Y'all must have forgot.
You keep forgetting. Who want to go against Kyrie more than LeBron?
Stephen A., but give that credit on the other side. Give that credit on the other side, too. I agree with you. Them guys going to be ready. But you don't think the Lakers and their mentality are going to be ready, too?
Well, I think
that's why
I'm not questioning the mentality of the Los Angeles Lakers. And any team with LeBron, I'll give a mental edge because they're going to be focused and disciplined. But does that mean you're going to hit some jump shots? Because Brooklyn going to hit some jump shots. And they're going to hit free throws. And they're going to hit free throws. LeBron and Westbrook, I don't know. Anthony Davis will hit his free throws. Those two need to hit those free throws. James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving, minimum of 85% for the free throw line. Easy.
For sure.
I will be on the NBA tour with Stephen A. this year.
LeBron against Kyrie, you couldn't ask for more. Stephen A's got to go do first take. Tavius Caldwell-Pope plus Montrezl Harrell. What does it mean? Well, according to Caesars Sportsbook, the Lakers' odds to win the title did not change. They are still 4-1 behind the other big super team, which is the Brooklyn Nets. The next closest odds in the West would be the Warriors at 10-1. LeBron has led a team to the finals, of course, in 9 of the past 11 seasons and won 4 championships doing it, and no one knows that better than Brian Windhorst, who has been with LeBron forever and is now in Tokyo and joins us live. So, Windy, let's talk about it. I'm hearing a lot of mixed reaction to this. What do you think the Westbrook acquisition means for the Lakers?
Well, this actually could be amazing, Greeny, because when Russell Westbrook is at his best, it's when the lane is open and you've got versatile big men. And if this means that Anthony Davis is going to be playing center and LeBron James is going to be playing power forward, you may have something really special. Here's the problem. Anthony Davis hates playing center. LeBron James avoids power forward like crazy. So if you're really going to have to wait and see what the Lakers do to fill out the rest of their roster. And frankly, I want to hear from Anthony Davis and LeBron James, who had to be consulted on this, on how they intend to play alongside Russell Westbrook, because the formula is there. I just don't know if they're going to be comfortable.
Well, and as we sit and consider, they only have 5 players under contract as we speak, as Woj and I discussed off the top here, and it seems pretty clear. They desperately need shooting, yes?
Absolutely. So if those guys are going to play big, it opens up wing positions. They also have to re-sign their own guys, Alex Caruso and Talen Horton-Tucker. But they've already got $120 million on their payroll just with those 3 guys. The salary cap is $112 million. That means that their main mechanism to sign a player is going to be a $5 million exception. So they have got a lot of work to do. They're going to hope that somebody wants Dennis Schroeder. And if they can do a sign and trade with him and send him somewhere and get some players back. But otherwise, their second and third level moves here, getting shooting, getting a starting center are going to be what we're going to watch with the Lakers. Give me 7 to 10 days and ask me again.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, as we get into the free agency piece of this next week. So let me circle back to the beginning. Again, you've been covering LeBron basically his entire career. You know that he knows that he's getting closer to the end here as we speak. I have to believe he understands a way to make this work. Yes, whatever that way is, this has to have his fingerprints on it, and he has to know how he plans to make it work.
Yeah, and so that's why I wonder if he's willing to play big, Greeny, because when they won the title 2 years ago, it was LeBron as a point guard with athletic centers. They keep going away from that. Quite frankly, JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard are free agents. You could get them for the minimum. I might try to recreate that old team because that was a formula that worked. They keep going away from it. And if LeBron wants to reduce his burden handling the ball, he may need to increase his burden playing big. That's the biggest thing about this whole acquisition.
All right, we will wait and see. Again, they put together 3 superstars in L.A. We'll see just how well they play together. That's Windy live in Tokyo. Awesome. Thank you for getting up, or in your case, staying up with us here on ESPN. So Westbrook to the Lakers. The 32-year-old Westbrook coming off his 4th season averaging a triple-double. To acquire Westbrook, the Lakers had to give up a lot, as you would imagine. They sent them their first-round pick this year. They also gave up 3 significant role players, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell. So it is a blockbuster in every sense of the word. And Big Perk, I'll come to you in a minute, but Woj, I did want to start with you on just how this deal came together. As Wendy and I were talking earlier, you have to believe that LeBron and AD are consulted. Everyone is sort of in on this thing, and the entire organization felt good about it. How did this thing come together?
Yeah, I mean, at the same time they were talking about this Wizards deal, the Lakers were talking with Sacramento about a Buddy Hield trade that would have been, a couple of the same players, Kuzma, Harrell, no draft pick that would have gone back to Sac for Buddy Hield, younger, more of a, certainly one of the better three-point shooters in the league. But they started to get traction over the last couple of days on this Westbrook deal with Washington, and Washington, acquiesced to the idea that they were willing to do this. Russell Westbrook really liked the idea of not just going home to LA, but going to a championship contender. And, he and Bradley Beal had been talking about what Beal's future was in Washington. And Beal did not ask out and is not asking out of Washington. But Russell Westbrook was ready to move on. Wizards got the deal done, and now you have a big 3 in LA that's going to be fascinating to watch this season.
Well, I would underline that word. And so, Big Perk, we come to you. But we all know the Lakers, it's not about getting better. It's about can they or can they not win a championship. So I'm asking you, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, can that big 3 win the championship next year?
Granny, listen, asking me that question is like asking me, am I going to finish my plate of food? And the answer is hell yeah. Look, when you have a guy like Russell Westbrook and LeBron James on the same team, they weighs heavy on you, right? 2 of the most polarizing players to ever play the game of basketball. And then you add an Anthony Davis, right? Anthony Davis that's healthy, one of the most generational talents at the power forward position that we have ever seen. Russell Westbrook has never played with a big like Anthony Davis. Good luck to try to stop that pick and roll with Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis. And by the way, LeBron James need Russell Westbrook for the simple fact that he's getting up in age. Russell Westbrook is still 32, which means he's still in his prime. I see them getting out in transition. I see them posting up. I see them coming out of the West. I actually see them winning the title.
Winning the championship, says Kendrick Perkins, with a lot of work still to do on the roster. But how do you see them playing? Anthony Davis typically doesn't like to play the 5. LeBron last year, or when they won the championship now 2 years ago in the bubble, played with the ball in his hands. That's Westbrook's role. What do you envision them looking like, the 3 of them playing together?
Well, obviously they're going to go through Anthony Davis, but a lot of people said that LeBron James and Rajon Rondo couldn't be on the floor together. And we saw when they won the title, when it mattered the most, that was the big 3, Rondo, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And when you have Russell Westbrook, one thing you cannot do is keep him out of the paint, right? He's going to get to the paint. He's going to put pressure on the defense. Anthony Davis, I feel like, is going to come back with an MVP-type season. He has a lot to prove. So just staying healthy is the key. LeBron James is going to be LeBron James. I don't want to hear about Father Time. I don't want to hear about none of that. We already know he's a freak of nature, and he's just a different breed.
So the Lakers have a big 3. Woj, there are 2 things they don't have much of. They don't have many players under contract, and they don't have much cap space. So to acquire what they need, and everyone immediately says they need shooting, how do they go about it? How do they fill out this roster?
Well, they'll be able to re-sign Taylor Horton-Tucker here, restricted free agent. I think you'll see him obviously play a much bigger role on this team. You know, and they're able, listen, Dennis Schroeder was brought in with the idea that they trade for him, he would sign an extension. Now with Russell Westbrook there, it looks different for him, but they can still, I think if Dennis Schroeder doesn't find cap space out there with the team, there's a lot of point guards in this market. There's a lot of teams who need him and have cap space for him. But they could also use a sign and trade on Dennis Schroeder, a team that is over the cap, where that could perhaps bring back a couple players if they don't re-sign Schroeder. And you've got to hope that, you know, they're going to have to load up on those veteran minimum deals, players who might want to go to LA, maybe on one-year deals, maybe for less money than they imagine somewhere else, to go have a chance to win a title, play with this group that's going to get a lot of attention this year. And listen, this is how you've seen typically LA teams, big market teams, put together rosters around star players, because it's obviously an attractive place to play.
Very quickly. So we got some answers last night. We got answers on Westbrook. We got answers on Bradley Beal. We still have questions on Ben Simmons. What is the latest?
Philadelphia's still asking for a lot. I mean, teams are not willing to be strip-mined to trade for Ben Simmons. And they're going to continue to try to find a way to see if there's a deal here as free agency starts. You kind of get another cycle of deal making here. But he's got 4 years left on his deal. They're not going to just give him away in Philly. Whatever they get back for him, they've got to believe it continues to make them a championship contender. But they'd like to get a deal done before training camp.
All right, we will see if they're able to. And Big Perk will get into that and more. We'll have you back in a few minutes. To the Lakers. They gave up a lot, or the Lakers gave up a lot, I should say, to get him. The 22nd pick in last night's draft, plus Kyle Kuzma, plus Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, plus Montrezl Harrell. All of this according to our Adrian Wojnarowski, who's in with us all morning long. According to Caesars, the Lakers' odds to win the title didn't change. They're still 4-1 behind the other big super team, and that's Brooklyn. Next closest odds in the West, you see there Golden State at 10-1. LeBron, of course, has led a team to the finals in 9 of the past 11 seasons and won 4 championships. Stephen A. Smith is on his way in studio to break this down along with this fella, Kendrick.
Finding out about the trade before the coverage, this is what he said about loving the idea of Westbrook going to the Lakers.
I don't want to hear about can it work, can LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, they need shooting and all this. I don't want to hear that. It's going to work. It instantly makes them the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. Can we revisit the Miami Heat, D. Wade and LeBron James with a Chris Bosh? This is a similar thing, right? You have Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, and then you have Anthony Davis. You go out and get a couple shooters, but they're going to make it work. We're talking about Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, two of the most polarizing figures to ever play the game of basketball. It's going to happen.
And that's part of Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Bart Scott, Freddie Coleman, and Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. The one thing, I'm going to be that guy. Yeah. I want to see how this is going to work, because you got a guy, LeBron James, you got Anthony Davis, but you got that Russell Westbrook guy that is going to be a hard-charging dude. And, yeah, he doesn't mind being on a team like this. He's from the LBC, Long Beach. He has a chance to go back home. But Russell Westbrook has a strong will, and Russell Westbrook has been seen to have a strong won't. And at a certain point, if he thinks that things aren't the way they're supposed to be, he's not just going to sit on his hands and bow down at the altar of LeBron James. If something's not right, Brody's going to let him know. I want to see exactly what is going to be the process leading up to what the end result's going to be.
Pump your brakes, Kendrick Perkins. I know the Brody's your boy, but, man, come on, man. Don't be the prisoner of the moment. They just signed a 6'3" post player. Like, I mean, he's going to occupy the same real estate of that of Anthony Davis. Yeah, I understand he's a guy that plays, wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's going to give you everything he got. But I just don't know if it's a guy you can depend on when it's time to, shoot the shots. Open, you'll be able to – you need shooting, right?
Yeah, and that's not his deal.
And he's one-dimensional. And they needed somebody that can spread the court and open up the court for LeBron so he can have the driving lanes. You needed somebody that can open it up for, the pick and roll, being able to come off the pick and roll. And, yeah, he can do that, right? He's a guy that's going to find assists. But guys are going to play him a certain way because, at this point he is who he is in his career, and they're going to give him the space to shoot. And sometimes, like Giannis, he's going to hit one or two, and that's the worst thing that can happen because it's going to embolden him to to shoot more. I mean, when I look at it, yeah, making a trade with Washington, that's good. If it was Bradley Beal,
a shooter,
because I feel that's a guy that would have made the team a lot better. And where does he stand now? Because if I'm him, like, I don't want to be traded. Now I'm like, hold up, really? Kyle Kuzma? They'll give me the dude. What's the movie with Robert Townsend when he had the little crew with all the little platinum hair? Meteor Man.
Meteor Man.
Yeah, like
Meteor
you gonna sign a little baby Meteor Man? Like, man, I don't want baby Meteor Man and Montrezl Harrell. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, my wife Denise right now is happy because we love that movie Meteor Man. So you just made my wife Denise extremely happy, Bart, with that one.
Shout out Robert Townsend, man. They're wasting Bradley Beal away. And if I'm the Golden State Warriors, I say, yeah, I made all these nice picks, but maybe I made these nice picks, and I'll send them to Washington so they can have a nice restart with a young core. And if it costs me Wiseman, if it costs me maybe one of the draft picks that they took yesterday,
so be it.
So be it. Can you talk about having, 3 shooters, 3 offensive players like that, and they're able to retain maybe Wiseman, or they're maybe able to retain Wiggins, and now they have those wing defenders now that they have, being that maybe Clay won't have the lateral movement that he's had before. But this doesn't make the Lakers the favorites. To me, it opens the door for Bradley Beal to go to the West or to say, you know what, I've given everything I had, I'm out.
You can say that, and that's not unfair to say about Bradley Beal, because here's the question I have with Bradley Beal. If you want to be the guy, do you trust the Washington Wizards as an organization to put pieces around you? Because certain guys are destination guys, in my opinion. For example, Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks, Bart, is a destination guy because we've seen what he's been able to do in the playoffs, and there are guys out there saying, man, you re-sign John Collins, I'll think about joining with Trae Young. Yeah. Is Bradley Beal a destination guy? And my answer is no right now.
Absolutely
Bradley
not.
Beal, as great of a shooter as he is, he can be more of a Robin than a Batman. Now, he believes he's a Batman. I don't take anything away from him from thinking like that. But if guys are actually believing that they're going to sign with Bradley Beal with the Washington Wizards, well, I'm not buying that at all. So at a certain point, when that frustration hits, to your point, does he want out, and then what kind of package you're going to try to get for him with a new head coach in Russ Unseld Jr. and maybe not a lack of trust with that organization, put pieces around him?
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point you're being loyal to an organization that's not being loyal to you. So at what point do you do what's best for you and be Roscoe Jenkins, the team of me? And, I think we've come to that point. I know what he said earlier in the day, but at this point, he's not going to attract anybody because they're not one superstar away. I mean, they had a superstar. So even if they get another superstar, they're just where they was last year, which barely, put them in the playoffs. And at some point, he's got to say, man, I'm doing all this heavy lifting, man. Like Erykah Badu bagged that lady. He's going to break his back. Right, it's time to put some of those bags down. Let somebody else do some of the carrying. I mean, the crazy stat last year, I mean, he's going for 40 burgers left and right. They were like 20% win percentage with him going for 40. So it's not like, if he plays better or I can start doing this or that. Are you going to depend? Oh, yeah, I'm going to get Montrezl Harrell and Kuzma. That's going to get him. Oh, the Pistons are like – I mean, the worst place to be is
you're in that Pistons bag with Kate Cunningham, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, the worst place to be is stuck in the middle where you're not bad enough to blow it up, but you're not good enough to really do anything. And you have to have that realization, man, that the organization really don't know what they're doing. And by the time they figure it out, your prime is going to be gone. You talk about you want to be a Batman, but they're not even giving you Robin. They're giving you Alfred. You know what I mean? And every once in a while, Catwoman come around and help you out with a mission, but she run out of town.
What's wrong with Catwoman?
I mean, no, Catwoman would be Russell Westbrook. He came in,
really
help him steal the jewel, gave it to him, and he was conflicted and bounced back to the West Coast. So, I mean, I think Bradley Beal's a guy that has to, really take a deep look. And I know, I mean, you look at the Knicks that said, hey, man, it's safe to come here. They didn't do much last night. And, I think it opens up for the Bradley Beal sweepstakes.
We got Meteor Man, Bag Lady, and the Justice League, all part of the Lakers, hoping that Russell Westbrook can get in the zone in his return to Los Angeles. Get in the zone, brought to you by AutoZone.
They're making that run for it, right? And, at some point, I think Westbrook will outlast LeBron because I think LeBron has maybe 1 or 2 more years left in that body as you're starting to see him starting to break down. And we've seen great players, in that organization, Kobe Bryant, when – you got all these miles on your body. Eventually it catches up with you. Father Time is undefeated.
Right.
So, I mean, when LeBron leaves, at least they can say, okay, well, we still have Brody and we still have Anthony Davis, so they don't have the full rebuild. But, man, this is LeBron's attempt to try and get receipts and say, you know what, let me get back to where I need to go, because he could handle losing. He couldn't handle losing one star, so he had to go get another star so that he can. LeBron can win with 2 stars. He can't win with just himself and Kyle Kuzma. So we'll see.
Russell Westbrook's going to make $44 million next season and $47 million after that before he becomes an unrestricted free agent. So that's a lot of do-re-mi that you have to be paying those 3 guys. But now that he's gone, what about Bradley Beal? He's still in Washington. Adrian Wojnarowski, ESPN NBA Insider SportsCenter, said, what does this trade of Westbrook going to L.A. mean for Bradley Beal and his future?
For Washington, the chance to get some salary cap flexibility moving forward with Bradley Beal, bring back, KCP, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, some solid veteran players, another first-round pick in this year's draft, and then see if they can try to re-sign Bradley Beal and then be able to go out in the marketplace and try to get a big free agent in the future.
That's the problem. Yeah. Try to get a big free agent in the future.
Yeah, I want to play with Bradley Beal and these guys. Like, come on, man. Like, they're not in the window. Like, if you're in the East, you're like, man, let me see if I can go to the Hawks. Oh, man, I tell you what, the Sixers need some help. I mean, if you're a guy like DeMar, what they going to get, DeMar DeRozan? Like, I mean, who the hell they going to get? I mean, I know it's maybe some disgruntled guys out there. We never know who's the next disgruntled star on The Price is Right. But we don't see that people are saying, hey, Washington is a destination. Let me go kick down the door and scream because I want to go play with Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell and Bradley Beal, right? Because you think that they need a superstar. And I don't know what superstar is available. I mean, if I'm Bradley Beal, I'm like, listen, y'all a mess. And listen, I hope y'all figure it out, but it's not going to be on my watch. I mean, he's 28 years old. I mean, he's getting to that 30 burger, and the time to win is now. And it's other destinations that he can get to. And if I'm him, I'm saying, listen, y'all brought in the Brody. I had John Wall. I need a star, and I need somebody that can play. Listen, Draymond Green's was over there recruiting as hard as he could.
Still is.
Right? You know what I mean? He's over there recruiting. And if I'm targeting, I know he was probably looking at Dame Lillard. And, man, what about Dame? Dame is like, hey, man, listen, I love C.J. McCollum, but you know what I'm saying? I'd much rather have you because, together they're a small backcourt.
Right.
You bring a guy like Bradley Beal, a little bit more size, equal to the shooting, capable of putting up big nights like McCollum. And maybe that'll keep a guy like Dame a little happy, that they're over there creating some synergy over there and seeing McCollum, who's good, but he's not great. His ceiling isn't high as Bradley Beal.
Bart Scott, Freddie Coleman, and Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zuma, presented by Progressive Insurance and ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPN News. You brought up something very interesting by saying about Damian Lillard, because we talk about guys that want out of place or maybe thinking about it, and Damian Lillard is wanting to give this a little bit of a try, but for how long in Portland? Yeah. It would be the perfect backcourt if you have both Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal together, because Damian Lillard right now is thinking, I've been able to try to do this. I've committed to Portland and wanting to win a championship here. But he's thinking, new head coach again, new system all over again.
I rock with Chauncey, but
right. But at the same time, does he really want to rock with Chauncey and start that all over again? You don't know how long that process is going to take.
He wants the same commitment that he saw the organization make to Giannis, right? He's saying, hey, man, I need you to go out and get me some dogs. I mean, forget Nurkic's. He's talking about he needs to know if he's gonna come back. Like, bro,
Nurkic is not coming.
Like, bro, I don't know if we want you back.
Exactly.
He talking about like really Nurkic.
It's like you want to divorce me, but we want to divorce you.
Exactly. We file the papers first. I'm gonna serve you first, bro. Like, I mean, so like, what moves are out there? Like, they got to go big. They got to go big, and they got to go home. Or Dame is going to be that squeaky wheel, and he's done everything that he's supposed to do. I mean, you talk about the first round exits from the playoffs, him not really being able to get on the stage. You know that Denver's going to be back. Utah's going to be back.
Absolutely.
And you can be a good team, even a great team in the West, and still not get out of the first round or still be fighting for 7th and 8th. That is beneath a guy like the talent of a guy like Dame Lillard, especially this late in his career.
You look at guys like that. There's another guy there by the name of Zion Williamson, the New Orleans Pelicans. They can say whatever they want, but when I start hearing people chirping close to him or outside his circle saying he's not really happy with the situation here, when you get to a certain point where there's no return, then you're going to do everything to have an exit strategy. Bradley Beal reduced his exit strategy by saying, I want to stay here in Washington. because Bradley Beal believes that guys will want to come play with him. Hey, Bradley Beal, you talk about Draymond Green, Bart, recruiting him. Bradley Beal better start being an ace recruiter. He better start having his own head-hunting firm if he believes that somebody's going to play with him, because he can't just rely on the Wizards organization or the fact that Bradley Beal's a scorer. He's got to convince the guy, hey, you come play with me. We can do some things.
Right.
What do I need to do? Help me help you. What do I need to do? Bradley Beal is going to have to be his best recruiter more than the Wizards and hoping that things are going to work out there.
And listen, everybody wants to be stuck on this whole thing like, I want to win with the team that I came in with, and I want to be loyal to a fault. I mean, look at some of the greatest to ever do it. You can talk about Michael Jordan never left, and he brought everybody to him, but he was the ultimate magnet, right? He can attract anybody or any star because he was the best in the game. LeBron kind of has that same type of synergy. Like, a lot of people didn't want to go play with Kobe, right? Because they didn't want to, they couldn't handle the mental warfare, the Mamba mentality, him kind of demeaning. We saw Dwight Howard kind of struggle with that.
Sure.
But, man, you talk about, being able to get somebody to come play. Shaquille O'Neal left. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar left.
Will Chamberlain.
Like, Will Chamberlain left. Like, what are we talking about? Like, I think it's some type of badge of honor. I want to win and set up a dynasty with the team that brought me in. But sometimes these players are being more loyal than the organizations because they're all about trying to collect money and not about winning and really putting together the best team to give you the opportunity. They're not going all in. They're not going over the luxury tax.
Yeah.
They're not doing what they're supposed to do, but you're being loyal to them. And I think sometimes these players need to understand that that's a false narrative out there because some of the greatest players has done that. And you talk about the Pelicans, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, can you be an organization that wasted away Chris Paul, wasted away Anthony Davis, and now Zion Williamson, you're next in line? Like, they better figure it out quickly. They better figure out, one, who's going to be a coach that can have some stability, that can get to Zion, and two, they better figure out the right type of players to surround him with.
It's a romanticism, Bart, when it comes to, and I don't think it's a players thing. I believe it's a fans thing. Because fans want, especially if you have a player like Zion Williamson, you're a Pelicans fan, you want him to stay. And then if he leaves, he's not being loyal to the organization. That has nothing to do with it. People leave jobs all the time.
Exactly.
If a better opportunity comes along, you can be loyal to the company until somebody says, I'll double your salary.
Exactly.
Then also your loyalty is going to change. So if you don't attach that to people in regular life, why are you attaching that to players in sports and say, why are you not loyal to the organization? People not even loyal to their own families sometimes.
Exactly.
So why are they doing that to players in the NBA or any other sport?
Hey, we all looking to upgrade sometimes, you know what I mean? So I don't know what people think about that. But I tell you what, man, Zion and what he said after playing in the Madison Square Garden, we know his relationship with R.J. Barrett. Mm-hmm. The crazy thing is he can't make some of those decisions maybe to like 4 or 5 years, unless he becomes a squeaky wheel, he doesn't sign an extension. But, his willingness and want to be able to play with R.J. Barrett will probably cost the Knicks R.J. Barrett.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
But it's worth it though for Bradley Beal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you look at the fact, right, that the Knicks didn't make any moves, they traded out their draft pick, tells you that they have a move at hand, right? Worldwide West is doing something behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? That they're saying, you know what, we're gonna get us a star because that team that we saw that played hard, and that's great, right? You talk about finishing 4th in the East. That team isn't the 4th best team in the East if you put that same squad out there. So they know that they got to do something. They got to do something fast to get somebody to come to the Mecca.
He's Bart Scott and Freddie Coleman. This is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin coming to you live from the Seaport District at Pier 17, brought to you by Chase.
Sports Center, Russell Westbrook heading back to L.A., the former UCLA star, going from the Wizards to the Lakers in a deal reported by Adrian Wojnarowski, and Russ went to Twitter. It's got to be official, right? Thank you, D.C. You welcome my family and I with open arms from day one. Everyone from the front office to the training staff, the coaches, my teammates, and the fans. I'm grateful y'all took a chance on me and supported me every step of the way. So now that Russ is headed back to L.A., what does this do for the Lakers? Richard Jefferson, what say you?
The entire NBA was completely surprised by the Westbrook trade. We were sitting with Cade Cunningham, and he sat down with us, and we actually informed him of that trade. And look, when you look at Russell Westbrook, you understand his ability, everything that he's able to do. He has been one of the stars in this league since the moment he showed up. But when you're looking at the Los Angeles Lakers, you're also thinking about what did they need? There was a reason why Buddy Hield was tops of their list when you're talking about trade. They needed more shooting around LeBron James, around Anthony Davis. Davis. And ultimately, Russell Westbrook definitely makes them better, but they still have to address shooting over the course of this next offseason and free agency.
All right, RJ, now clearly there will be critics of this deal, and they will likely point out the following in those critiques. Russ had the third worst shooting percentage on jumpers last year, and the Lakers ranked bottom 10 as a team. On the plus side, though, the Lakers did need another playmaker after ranking 18th in points assisted a year ago.
Trust me, I saw it in the green room. That other sports superstar headed from Washington to Los Angeles, Russell Westbrook, is on the move. From the Wizards to the Lakers. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, this past season, Russ cemented himself as Mr. Triple-Double, posting up 184 in his career, surpassing Oscar Robertson in the process. So here are the full details. The Lakers get Westbrook, and the Wizards will get in return Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Montrezl Harrell, plus the 22nd pick in the NBA draft, which has already been traded to the Pacers for Aaron Holiday, and the 31st pick. Now, what does the deal mean? Westbrook gives the Lakers a star-studded big three. LeBron, AD, and Westbrook have combined for 34 All-Star selections. They are the second team to have a trio with that many, along with the 2011 Celtics, who featured Shaq, Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce. It also gives the Lakers two of the best playmakers of all time. LeBron and Westbrook have combined for 283 career triple-doubles. Westbrook is the all-time leader in that category, while LeBron ranks fifth. Both players also have a scoring title and assists title under their belt. But there is the question of how they will fit, especially in terms of floor spacing. Westbrook shoots just over 30% from three in his career, something the Lakers ranked 21st in last season. But to be fair, LeBron won 2 titles with D-Wade, who were worse than 30% from three in his career.
If you're following the journey of Russ there, it goes from the Thunder, and then you go to the Rockets, then the Wizards. They make the playoffs, and now in LA. And what do you think about this combination with LeBron and AD?
So I can relate to Russ, right? Because he's an acquired taste. But what I tell people, if you don't like me, acquire some taste. Not to my guy Nickel. Here's the thing about Russ, right? He's going to help the Lakers play a lot faster. LeBron James is 36 years of age. He's going to be available every night, whether AD or LeBron are low managing, and also another creative playmaker that's going to be a triple-double threat playing alongside LeBron James.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. And you know what's crazy also? They're both top 7 in the NBA in touches. How will they balance the basketball?
That is key, right?
How will they balance it? I like this, though. Yeah. I think this is a play for the playoffs where he's able to have some help late in the playoffs. And, Russell Westbrook, truly talented, but I know some people might be concerned about stretching the floor as well.
Okay, and Oscar Robertson is the big O, Mr. Triple-Double. This is 2.0, Russell Westbrook, 184 triple-doubles. We're talking about a guard that averaged 11 rebounds and 11 assists. Come on.
I'm glad you pointed out the rebounds. She'll tell you, when you have a guard or perimeter player that can rebound like that, that's a first pass to a fast break. That's exactly what I'm talking about. They're going to be so much faster this year. This is a great thing for the Lakers.
With the Lakers, obviously, even though they were in the championship picture last year before AD and LeBron periodically went down, definitely Russell Westbrook elevates your chances. There's no denying that. He averaged about 22 a game, which was down by about 5 points from his previous year, but he shot better from three-point range. First time he shot better than 30% from three-point range over the last 4 years. He's 32 going on 33 in November. He's an electrifying athlete. We all know that. An incredible finisher at the basket, an incredible player in the open court. The question about Russell Westbrook is going to be very, very simple, and that's going to pertain to his shot from the perimeter. Can he be a better three-point threat? Because usually that's what things come down to in the Western Conference postseason play. That's the question about him, but that appears to be the only question. He's a significant upgrade, not just from, Schroeder or anybody else, but all the guys mentioned in the trade, the Kuzmas, Harrells of the world, Kentavious Caldwell-Popes. None of them even combined are Russell Westbrook, particularly when he gets going. And the notion of him being with LeBron and being with Anthony Davis is something that's incredibly, incredibly formidable, particularly when you consider the fact that it's Laker tradition, the Staples Center, that's his home, et cetera, et cetera. It would be an electrifying situation, no doubt.
How would you answer that question? Can Russ be that threat, that three-point threat?
Oh, hell no. That's my only reservation about him. He defends. He goes all out. He never cheats you with effort. He's a superstar talent. He is the most athletic point guard in the history of the National Basketball Association. Make no mistake about that. But when defenses come playoff time, defenses, when they get back on defense and they don't give you but so many opportunities in the open court, and they turn you into a half-court team, and you struggle to hit three-point shots, that can be detrimental. Now, LeBron James, he could create shots for LeBron James. He certainly could create shots for Anthony Davis, along with various other teammates that he'd have available, and maybe they'd hit those shots. But if you're asking him to be that shot maker, well, there's a reason that he's lost to the likes of Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell, and of course, Damian Lillard in the postseason. It's primarily due to the fact that those dudes are marksmen, especially Steph Curry and Damian Lillard. And Russell Westbrook, that's the one thing you can't say about him. Everything else is there. There's a question mark in terms of his long-range perimeter shooting.
I know LeBron didn't go to the Lakers to just get one title. If this goes through with this lineup, this current roster, what's the Lakers' window to get another chip before it's all done?
I think 2 years. I think they'd have 2 seasons. Russell Westbrook will be 33 next season, 34 the season after that. But let's be very, very clear. He is a superstar. He's a superstar talent, make no mistake about it. Anthony Davis, when healthy, is a superstar, one of the top 5 players on the planet, but his durability is a question mark. And we all know that LeBron James is one of the top 2 players on the planet. I don't care what Giannis or anybody else is doing. We know how great that is. And so this would definitely be a trio to be reckoned with. But still, Brooklyn would have something to say about it. To a lesser degree, Milwaukee would have something to say about it. If the Clippers stayed together and everybody was healthy, they'd have something to say about it. So there would be teams in both conferences that would try to be roadblocks, and they'd have a legitimate chance. But there is no question if this deal goes through, it would be a significant upgrade for the Los Angeles Lakers, and they would clearly be one of the favorites, if not the favorite, to win it all, because you had some people having them as the favorite last year when it was just LeBron and Anthony Davis. Imagine if Russell Westbrook was in that lineup. That's how big this deal is. There's no doubt about that.
Stephen A. Smith breaking down. Brother, appreciate you.
All right.
Nearing a deal with the Wizards to acquire Russell Westbrook for Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and a 2021 first-round pick. Sources tell our Adrian Wojnarowski what a power shift of Russell Westbrook potentially joining LeBron James out in L.A. As we now bring in Woj, she's joining us now from Brooklyn as we prepare for tonight's draft. Woj, what else can you tell us about this Laker deal for Westbrook?
Well, this has been a conversation, I'm told, that has gone back and forth for a period of time now, and that the two sides now feel like they are nearing a possible deal that would deliver Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. Now, the Lakers had continued and had been talking also simultaneously about a deal that would have brought them Buddy Hield from Sacramento for some of the parts that are in this proposed Wizards trade. Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl Harrell opted into his contract for next season earlier today, I was told, and that allows him to be included in these trades. I think Sacramento would still like to be aggressive in trying to get that deal complete. But I think for Washington, the chance to get some salary cap flexibility moving forward with Bradley Beal, bring back KCP, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, some solid veteran players, another first-round pick in this year's draft, and then see if they can try to re-sign Bradley Beal and then be able to go out in the marketplace and try to get a big free agent in the future. But right now, Washington and L.A. are trying to complete this deal.
Unbelievable. Russell Westbrook was already the first MVP to be traded in consecutive seasons. So he's just adding now 3 straight seasons of an MVP being traded. Really unbelievable there. What other teams are engaged in trade talks among the top of the draft?
Well, certainly Philadelphia continues to try to find a new home for Ben Simmons. They're asking for a lot. Their asking price is steep. Simmons has 4 years left on his deal. They don't have to do a deal here at the draft. They're certainly prepared.
Center L. Duncan, Jay Harris, and our draft night Woj bomb for you. Our Adrian Wojnarowski reporting. The Lakers are nearing a deal with the Wizards to acquire Russell Westbrook for Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and a 2021 first-round draft pick. For more on the breaking news, let's welcome in NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins. Perk, what's your initial reaction to Russ potentially joining the Lakers?
Oh, I love it. And look, Jay, I don't want to hear about can it work? Can LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, they need shooting and all this? I don't want to hear that. It's going to work. It instantly makes them the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. Can we revisit the Miami Heat, D. Wade and LeBron James with a Chris Bosh? This is a similar thing, right? You have Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, and then you have Anthony Davis. You go out and get a couple shooters, but they're going to make it work. We're talking about Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, two of the most polarizing figures to ever play the game of basketball. It's going to happen. And LeBron is going back to his hometown of L.A. Whew. Talking about smoke in the city.
Lots and lots of it. Okay, so if this goes through, where are the Lakers, in your opinion, on the title favorite ladder?
Oh, I'm betting my house on them. They're going to win it all. You know why? Because LeBron James has did something in these last 2 years far as being in the Laker uniform, and that's he has added and adjusted his game. We're watching him now as he's becoming more of a guy that could play off the ball, a spot-up shooter. And we already know how Russell Westbrook is going to impose his will. Can you imagine Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis in a pick and roll? How can you stop that? With Anthony Davis rolling to the basket, being a live threat at the rim, Russell Westbrook, the most athletic point guard in today's game, the most athletic point guard to ever play in the NBA, coming at you with a head of steam. Good luck.
All right. Kendrick Perkins, enjoy the draft tonight. Thank you for your